Auntie deftly slipped off her stool and went to the back of the bar for a while. And when she appeared again, she and her girlfriend started cutting lines of Coke on the face of a Schlitz beer mirror that the bartender took down from over the manual cash register. And that evening, late afternoon, in the late morning of my life, I went in for yet another great adventure. I had always said I wouldn't snort anything. A man of discipline, a man of limits. My excuse? A good one. I was drunk. Abe was in the bathroom taking a piss. He came gliding to the front when my face was an inch over the bar, my elbow high in the air. He was just as drunk as I was, but he lost his placid demeanor even quicker than I did. "My God, Dan," Abe said. Then he grabbed my arm and walked me up and across the street to the 456 subway line, furious. And he was stumbling from all the booze we hadn't been drinking over the course of the previous 4 weeks. When I stepped to him, he leaned on me like a drunk banker trying to discipline his track star son. I felt I was unusually strong, after only a matter of seconds, really. So we rode the 456 to Grand Central and checked the times for a Metro North to New Nueva Haven. 7:37. I took Abe to the underground Dunkin' Donuts and sat for a while drinking the best damn coffee I'd ever had in my entire life. It was only 7:10. "I'm okay, Abe. Honestly, I feel fine," I told him. All of a sudden I was feeling pretty good. All of a sudden not the least bit drunk. I had to grab Abe's arm because he was having trouble yelling at me and watching where he was stumbling at the same time, trying to cover for the fact that I felt like Superman. Trust me. In 20 minutes, I sent him on his way to Penn Station. "Say hi to Annabelle for me," I said. Then I went back to the lower levels and left for New England. For most of the 2-hour ride, I paced up and down the car. But it was a crowded commuter scene, and I quickly got the sense that people seemed to think I just had a worse day than I did have. The idea was amusing, so I waved a pretend gun around over the people's heads, glaring and hastily choosing targets. Several sickened faces. Then I hung around in the loading hallway and twice did 50 consecutive push-ups. I had a few random thoughts in my head on the train ride home. One, a play I never saw, read, called "I Bombed in New Haven" by Tennessee Williams. I didn't know the author at the time. And that song, "Peace Frog" by the Doors, with that line, "Blood in the streets in the town of New Haven," something, something, something. "Blood in the love in my terrible summer." Once it's in there, you can't get it out. Simple and stupid as it is. The train flew up the Connecticut Gold Coast, through a few Lexus and Infinity-filled parking lots, and then on through the backyards of Milford, Orange, West Haven, before pulling into the clear behind New Haven's Union Station. I walked down and through the silver spaceship tunnels and up the escalator into the great waiting room, the miniature of Grand Central. But I didn't go outside. I didn't feel so well all of a sudden. I sat myself back on a curved wooden bench, just breathing and checking my runaway pulse. The delayed drunkenness was sliding smoothly back into my bloodstream, like a $1 billion parking ticket left too many minutes unpaid. I was 2 miles from home. I should have gone there. But all I could think about really was how it was the last place I wanted to go. I was still $100 under budget. The miracle of all miracles. Even after the New York City day. Maybe Abe picked up the Mexican bar tab. I couldn't remember. I looked up to the black electric schedule board and spotted a Yankee Clipper heading for South Station at 10. I bought a ticket and then went back down through the then unbearable reflection-filled tunnels up to track 8. It was Connecticut in midsummer. The air was as thick as it was at noon. I walked out to the near end of the platform and sucked in big gulps of the low New Haven sky. As it goes, though, it felt a little too fruitless to rightly be called deep breathing. Breathing deeply. I was huffing like a fool and thinking about the city pool I used to swim in as a younger kid. All the piss and chlorine and the burning and the wicked scare the girls' bloodshot eyes. That's it, I decided then and there. No more swimming pools. Ever again. No more red eyes. I put my foot down. Cut losses. Reduce variables. If a guy is going to look his best in this life, he's got to start with a few solid rules. For half of the 3-hour ride up the shoreline, I tried to sleep. And I spent the bad part of an hour in the Amtrak bathroom using the stained stainless steel sink as a walker. My stomach felt like a cesspool in an earthquake, and my head felt like a large train was running through the middle of it. After Providence, I made my way to the cafe car, and the nice man offered me 2 ginger ales for the price of 1. He noted that I looked like I could use them. With all the extra allowance still a prominent thought, I took 2 sodas and paid him for, I think, 4. Like a cool big spender, like the one I'd never been. By the time I got to and through South Station and down under to the Red Line, I was more or less hallucinating. It was 1:10 in the morning, and by then the T should have been shut down for them. Somehow there was a train. It might just have been parked there, but still there was a train, so I slipped inside and sat. It made my whole day when the doors closed and the train started to move. I rode the all too familiar college run through downtown, out and over the river by Buzzy's Roast Beef, under the Institute of Technology in Central Square, and then up at Harvard, where I began my foot trek to Ernie's place in the neighborhood behind the yard in the Graphic School of Design. Ernie buzzed me in after he asked who the hell it was. "It's me," I squawked. But when I reached the second floor, he wouldn't open the door all the way. "You're a fucking mess, Turkey," he said. "Look at yourself." I nodded and looked past him. I quickly realized he was entertaining a guest and wasn't going to let me, his best friend, his hombre, his backup, his wingman, his consigliere, into the one-bedroom but spacious apartment. "Well, at least let me say hi to her," I said, hoping to weasel in and claim squatters' rights on the futon. Desperate times call for desperate measures. "Shh! You can't come in. It's not her, man. Her is in Europe. Go to your sister's." He was whispering all this with the aggravated facial movements of an angry shout. I sat down in the hallway and told him to call me a cab. I heard a woman's voice ask who it was, but Ernie didn't answer. He was dialing. I wasn't mad. I was dead. There was a difference. I needed an ambulance, or a hearse. I needed to lie down and somehow get to my sister's place in Arlington. When he came to the door again, he said the cab was probably already there, and he threw a t-shirt at me. He said he'd just ordered it from some snowboarding catalog. He said he bought it for himself, but now, "I think you should have this, my friend. Put it on. You smell like a dog." I smelled myself. I did. So I laid it across my knees and then pulled it over my head. He read the shirt's logo out loud to me, safely going in the assumption that my eyes weren't much in the mood for reading anything. In varying sized letters, slightly skewed in a revolutionary hip-hop kind of way, the shirt says rather simply, in Ernie's voice, "Hey, Ern, it was great, man. You have to admit it." And then to add insult to insult, I pulled an even bigger weenie, incriminating the absent third party. I mean, it truly was cool, even with Abraham. "It was a lot of things," he answered, which pissed me off for being such a perfect comment. He pulled the door closed behind himself and escorted me out of the building. "Now get out of here and get some sleep," he said. "Call me tomorrow if you want. We'll go to Shays and drink a tatty porter. Uncool shit for losers. High fashion for a hip-hop fool," Ernie added. And I could have left quietly at this point, but I didn't. He stopped at the front door and directed me down the walk to the waiting cab. I nodded my solemn agreement and stepped to the curb. I opened the rear door of the cab and managed myself in. Ernie went inside. The cab driver was talking into his radio. Then he hung up the mouthpiece and turned his head a little to the right to better project his voice. After the essential information was communicated, he drove me to my older sister's house in Arlington. Bill, my brother-in-law, let me in. He looked surprised for one split second, then pointed to the couch and went back to bed. I went straight to the little bathroom off the living room and relieved myself for about 45 seconds. A long-standing visit to the latrine by any measure. Staring blindly into the black and white poster of a woman launching herself into a man's arms on a train platform, probably Paris. When I came out into the hall, my sister Jane was standing outside her room with my new nephew in her arms. I whispered a loud apology, but she shook her head and said, "Don't be silly." She said she hadn't been to bed yet. "I've been sitting up with Nick. Here, take him for a minute. He's pretty big, isn't he?" Instinctually, I laid an index finger into little Nixter's palm, and to my great surprise, he squeezed and pulled it hard enough to pop the middle knuckle. The end.